Howdy, folks. Today we're going to talk about the Fiio FH3. This is a hybrid set of IEMs. I do like these quite a bit, I'll say that right off. Just talk about a few things. They have a nice metal build quality. I'm just sticking my colored light on black headphones because they're a little boring, but hey, why not? Metal build, they're not too big. They have a reasonable sized nozzle. It's not too wide. Easy to find tips for. They have these little wavy guys on the shell, and they have a vent which is there. What else? The cable is MMCX, or the connector. The cable itself is way stiff. I really dislike this cable. Let's see if we can get it into view here. It'll just yeah, it just stands up by itself, and then if you bonk it, you can hear that in the headphones. So the cable is absolutely not my favorite. I really can't stand it, to be honest with you, but I didn't remove it because I don't want to mess these up. MMCX can be finicky when you remove cables. Okay, so these headphones cost 145 bucks. I do like them a lot. So me and Fiio do not get along that well. I bought the FH7, had them for about 4 hours and sold them. They just were absolutely not my favorite signature. I could be specific. They just had a lot of high mids and a very flat sound, which was not exciting, and then I couldn't turn them up, so those went away. Anyway, but these are actually pretty decent. I like them a lot. So just to show you something, let's see. Here's, that's not it. Let's try that. Okay, here's the graph. Let me just pull this up. This is their web page, or the product page. You got a 10 millimeter beryllium-coated dynamic driver, which is awesome. The bass on these is fantastical. It's really as good as you might imagine. Then they got nulls for mids and nulls for high frequencies, and yeah. 24 ohm impedance and 114 dB per milliwatt. And yeah, micro crystalline silver plated copper cable. Wonderful. Then if we go over here, we can look at a graph. So the graph itself, let's look at this. The problem with this is I actually don't know which frequencies this is exactly applying to, but based on the way it sounds, I'll just go over it. So this definitely, the bass is sub-bass focused. Mid-bass is not too much in this area. The mids, which I do actually consider to go way above this. The mids to me are right around from 1K, maybe a little below that, to like 6 to 7K, something in that range, maybe, yeah. So the pin gain on these is actually pretty decent. That's well within my preference. And then it's got this funky stuff at the end, which is like, I want to say this little peak here is over 10K, and this is maybe 8K, probably. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know if we call this a W shape, but nah, I mean, to me, it's closer to diffuse field, and really kind of special. It's kind of its own thing. Anyway. Let's move on to the chart. All right, so the FH3 is the top line here, just to make it easy. And we'll start with the exceptional factor. So I rate these a 7 out of 10, which is to say I actually enjoy them quite a lot. Especially for 145 bucks, I consider them a pretty dang good deal. They have a lot of the things that I look for in an IEM. Just say that. All right, for accuracy. I do consider them fairly accurate. Let's see, if I had to complain about anything versus like a studio accuracy, I might say that the pin gain is maybe not quite as bold as I like, a little dry, and the treble is a little less controlled than I might want. And then I can certainly say that above 10K, they really don't have a lot of energy, which other sets do have. So we'll give them a 7 out of 10 in accuracy. Wideness is actually quite good on these. We'll rate that an 8. I was, well, for the price, 145 bucks, that's pretty dang good. You could absolutely pick things out left to right. They do seem to be beyond the size of your head, for sure. Yeah, like pretty dang excellent, especially for the price. Then moving on to 3D, they're quite good. Not the best I've ever heard, and not even close to the worst. We'll call it middle, well, average good. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say. Pretty good. I like it. You pick stuff out, 3 dimensions up, down, left, right, center, a little bit behind you, a little below you, that kind of stuff. Really pretty great. Moving on. Imaging, very good. I feel like balanced armatures just image pretty well. Generally, you can get better, but we'll call that a 7 out of 10. Again, for 145 bucks, that's pretty dang good, man. Like I said, you can pick things out quite easily. Now the best set's maybe a little better, but yeah. Volume scaling, we'll give that a 7 out of 10. I can't turn them as much as I like, but I can turn them up pretty good. And going back to the graph, come here, graph. There we go. So the energy right around here, if I can get my, yeah, there we go. This energy right here is a bit much. Now, let's see. Oh, hey, look, there's frequencies. 8K, okay, so I was a little off. But yeah, this over 8K, 8 to 10K gets a little much once you turn up, to ear pounding levels. I kind of prefer that to be, well, if we talked about a slope up to the pin again right here, I'd want it to kind of come down like sort of like that. I don't know if you could see that, but it's a little less than I want in terms of the detail in that area. And then so, well, for volume scaling, I believe that you pretty much need that curve, which comes from the pin again should pretty much be a curve all the way down. So like from here, you want a kind of nice slope downwards. You don't want any kind of like rough stuff going on, or at least as little as possible. And I kind of think that, when you do have that, the volume scales better. That's kind of where I'm getting with that. Moving on, so we'll move on to bass. The beryllium coated bass driver in this set is, let me pull my graph back up. Bass right here. It's fantastic. This set is far better than $145 should be for bass. Yeah, it's got excellent texture. It might even be a 9. It's really dang good. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna bump that up to an 8.5 because it's among the best bass I've heard in a headphone. If that sounds good. Yeah, and so because of the fact, just to go over this, that the mid bass is not pumped too much, which is mid bass will be right around again this area right here. It's not too much, so it's sub-bass focused. So as you increase the bass quantity, like EQ, or you increase the volume, that doesn't do anything except sound better and more slamming. So not bloaty, and it doesn't get into the mids. So I like that a lot. Really cool. Bass 8.5, which for the price surprised me. Mids, we'll give it a 7. And yeah, so going back to the graph again, let's see. So mids right in this area. I consider mids from like here over to here kind of thing, but I prefer a rounder type of shape here. This is a little dry in the high mids here. A little lower energy than I like. So, but not bad. Not bad at all. So go back here. Let's see. So we're going to give the mids a 7 out of 10. And let's see. And moving on. Treble, yeah, you can kind of see we're just kind of like hanging out at the 7s right now. So treble, 7 out of 10. It's good. I don't find it piercy or anything like that. I have a test that I do on a track for 15K, 15,000 hertz, and I can tell you for sure that this didn't do a very good job on that. It, according to the graph, there's no energy there, and in fact, I couldn't hear much of anything at that area. So yeah, it could be better. It's a 7 out of 10, not bad. Resolution also, balanced armatures tend to not get above a 7 for me unless you add a lot. So we'll give it a 7 in resolution. Pressure buildup is a no. It's got the vent. Cool. Fits great. Isolation. Yeah, it's a little bit of a smaller shell, so it doesn't fill my ear entirely. So 3 out of 5. Binaural is pretty okay. 3 out of 5. Because of the extra treble, the 8K to whatever that is, maybe 12K, that's it doesn't follow a normal graph, so that ends up sounding a bit fake for binaural. So anyway, so going over the total score here, 80 out of 100. And if you actually look here, that's not bad, especially for $145. Now, I would have rated this higher, except for I ran into a few tracks. I've got a track, a few really extreme tracks One of them is Napalm Death Plague Rages. This is all heavy metal stuff. And what happens is I find that headphones, if they fail, they generally will fail with heavy metal, and especially like grindcore, really dense, especially overdriven. A lot of mixes in grindcore are actually overdriven. Let's see here. So I've got another song especially this one. This is the end game when I'm talking about, is this headphone going to be too much in the upper mids? In other words, snares or guitars in the upper mids, like say 5 to 7K to 8K. That area, if it's pushed too hard, I can't listen to extreme music loud, and I don't like that because it's supposed to be loud. Anyway, the track I'm talking about is Brutal Truth, and it's called Grind Fidelity. And I'm going to play a little bit of it because I bet a bunch of folks won't even care. But let me just turn this on for a sec. Anyway, you get the point. It's extremely distorted, compressed. It's got a lot of everything. If you actually look at the frequency chart, frequencies go way above 10K to 20K with a ton of energy. Obviously this is not going to be an audiophile track, but what I find is when you play a track like this, if a headphone has a problem with the tuning, you're going to hear it really, really fast. So that's, yeah. When I played the FH3 with that track, the treble did appear to be a problem. It was just not correct. It didn't have enough in the right area of like we'll say the high mids, and it went up too much in the treble area. It didn't come down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it was a little too fatiguing on the ears. I just wanted to go over that track because I always listen to that track with my headphones. I realize nobody else is probably going to do that, but like I said, that really is where the rubber meets the road in terms of is this going to deal with some extreme type of sound. In any case, let's go back over here. Where are we? Let's see. Oh, where'd you go, buddy? You disappeared. Where'd he go? Yeah, here we are. Okay, so $145. Do I recommend this headphone? I absolutely do. I think that the strong points are going to be the tuning is relatively great. I would say that the bass is the high point of this headphone. Mids are pretty excellent. Treble is okay. It's pretty okay. I don't find any parts of the spectrum to be overtly wrong. But when you hit, like I said, extreme music, then that can show some rough edges. And, that's kind of my specialty. I play metal, I play guitar, so it tends to be one of the things I definitely check on headphones. Anyways, do I recommend these? Hell yeah, I do. $145, get yourself a pair and enjoy that beryllium bass. It's some of the best I've heard, especially for the price. Right on, folks. And I wanted to give a good shout out to my buddy John. He lent me the last 4 headphones to test. So these are the ISN H40, the Fiio FH3, the Mangrid T, and the Thor. Lordner. Yeah, whatever. All right, folks. Have a great day. Take care.